Break On Through, the podcast where we talk to up-and-coming musicians about their journey to the top, from where they started and where they're going. But today we're going to finish out the conversation with my pops. How you doing, Dad?
How's it going?
Pretty good. So we left off, we've covered everything from when you were like a little kid. We went through your days of Destiny. And I think when we ended the last podcast, we started to talk more about when you left Destiny. Or no, we got into the Baja Brothers too, didn't we?
I think we got that
We did.
far.
We
Yeah.
did, and how that ended. But I think what comes after that clearly is you did a solo thing for quite a long time, actually. So when you left the Baja Brothers, how was the transition from going from that into being like just a local guy?
That was easy, because I had been doing solo gigs off and on with every band and everything all the way down. Mm-hmm. So I just continued on. But I got away from it when I was with the Baja Brothers because I was too busy. I couldn't. They played 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week, and then.
Yeah, but when you left them, like I said, like you started playing out by yourself. Like I remember this because I remember going to see. I mean, you played by yourself a lot, even when you were in the band. You did like a lot of solo gigs, but when you finally did actually leave the Baja Brothers, like, was it like an easy transition to just being like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna play by myself now"?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed getting away from all that.
Yeah. Well, I know you got a family too. I got a little sister and stuff. So
I had to because the family life was getting really messed up from that, and this way I could pick and choose what I wanted to do rather than be dictated by what others wanted to do.
And you knew so many people.
I had no problem with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's in my my bio for the show. Like I grew up, my dad was like a local celebrity because you were. I mean, everybody fucking knew you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Some of the best gigs I did were at that point.
Yeah.
Right up till I left Massachusetts, I didn't come down here to Florida. I didn't really chase down anything, but I must have done 8 more years like that, and people loved me. I had fans. I could play as little as much as I want, and that's what I liked about it. Because I needed the freedom with the family and all. I needed freedom to be able to do what I wanted.
Oh yeah. So where were like some of the better places that you remember actually going to play?
Oh, you mean solo ones?
Yeah. I know you were kind of like I don't want to call it like a residency because it wasn't really like that, but I know you had places that you played all the time.
Well, like when I started going back to the solo thing originally, before I was in the Baja Brothers, I was playing at my buddy's restaurant in Mansfield, Geno's. And it wasn't really like a place for music. When we started out, I gave him a few people to contact, and it was just a small bar and stuff, but for some reason, every night was always a good one in there.
Packed.
It wasn't even packed. It was just the people.
Yeah.
It was a hometown place, and that was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think a lot of times I talked to you, man. That was like one of the places you were always playing.
Another good one was the Grove Street Tavern, right before the end of it all. For the last 2 years, I played there, or a year or so, and they loved me.
I remember one of my favorite places that I would go see you play by yourself was at Curly's.
Yeah, Curly's.
Rest in peace, because Curly's isn't around anymore.
Curly's ended right after I started with the Bajas, but I was the longest entertainer in that restaurant. I played there 16 years.
That place was special.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. It was up there almost with the Asonit Inn for me.
Yeah, I played there solo or with a band. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did everything in there.
Did you ever play there with Destiny? Like, did you go back that far? Or was it like or Night Shifters?
Night Shifters.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Night Shifters very much.
No, we played some of the music, remember?
Yeah, but we didn't talk.
Yeah, we didn't talk
too much about that.
It is just weird because, like, it was such a long period of time in your life, but to me, it was always Destiny and the Baja Brothers that stood out.
Well, the Night Shifters was 4 or 5 years, but it was a band that wasn't even supposed to be.
What do you mean?
I went down there with my brother-in-law playing drums, and they had a band. We just tried to jam a little bit. Next thing you know, we're out of the cellar and we're playing gigs. And it wasn't a serious thing or we wanted to work on anything. We just learned some songs.
Dave's still out there playing, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays in a band called the 60s Band. They play 60s music, and they do the whole show with the outfits, and they are fantastic.
Where are they at?
Taunton.
Oh, they're in
Mass.
Taunton.
And
So
that
hey, if you're
area.
listening, I do have
Just
some.
southeastern Mass.
I have some listeners, and I actually
Well,
have a few listeners in
You
that
can
area.
see,
So.
check them out at the 60sband.com.
No.
And
So
you-
if you're one of the listeners in that area, you go check him out. I saw him when you took me to see him. He was in the Zeals.
Yeah, well, it was an offshoot from that. The other guitar player, Kerry, what happened with the Zeals is Kerry's son died.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't put it back together.
Yeah.
So then they met up with some other musicians they knew and put that whole thing
They
together.
were fun, man. They were a fun band.
That's a fun story, though, about Dave and the Zeals, because he wasn't even their drummer. He was in the restaurant that they were playing, the bar or whatever, the Black Dawn. So the drummer got violently ill before the gig, and he couldn't do the gig. And it was one of those things, just like, is there anyone who can play the drums out there? And Dave said, oh, I can play drums.
It's like a movie
And then,
situation.
and you know, it's like the Who when they yelled out, "Does anybody know how to play the drums?" But it was the same thing. And he went up behind the kit, played the whole night, and a few weeks went by. They called him up, and he started playing.
And man, he really can play the drums.
Yeah, and he's a real
He's
good
real
drummer.
fucking good.
Yeah, we worked well together.
Yeah. No, he's cool. I always liked him. I went to his house one year for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We work well with him.
Yeah.
We all did in those days.
Too bad you guys didn't start another band.
You know, I don't know. I started playing solo, and then, but no, actually, what happened was I was still playing 3-piece with those guys, and then the Bauhaus hired me.
Yeah.
So I just says I'm going to do this, and they said we're going to hook up with my buddy Lou Gray, and we're going to still do a 3-piece. So they did that for about a year or so.
That's cool.
Now Lou was kind of hard to work with, so
Fuck him.
so that was the end of that. You know,
Fuck him.
I loved Lou, but he was hard to work with.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, some guys are like that.
None of us are really playing.
Yeah, I mean, you had a solid, like when you went out on your own. I'm not sure what the fucking word I'm supposed to use. A solo. When you did your solo thing, it was solid. All the gigs that I went to that you played as a solo deal, they weren't always a packed house, but the people who went there, man, they were loyal and they loved you.
Yeah.
And like everybody would be dancing or just having a great time. So I think the solo thing was the way to go, man, because you retained such a following through over the years.
Yeah, I didn't even do it on purpose. I just went out to do a few gigs, and
Well, good, it was natural.
Nothing was really planned for me. I just, you know, I learned songs, and people say, "Why don't you do this?" Because I just learned what I like to play now.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that.
Yeah, I remember there was a few times I went out and I tried to fuck with you until you play some weird shit that I knew you wouldn't know.
And I just laugh at you, you know, because that was some of the best time because, you know, I got so rock solid and so tight from playing with a drum machine that even today I still do it in the house.
You have to be on with that thing because it's
Oh,
not missing a beat.
I don't know if you remember seeing me, but I never missed.
Yeah, no, I've seen you many times.
And it's very difficult because it just became second nature. Most people would not be able to stay that solid.
Shit, I've seen you so many times. I have my own story I like to tell, and I was little. I was with you at, I don't know why, I want to say BB Binks.
Oh,
Did you ever
could be.
play there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just remember being there, and it was late. It was so
I
late.
played two different ones.
Yeah, but I just remember being really late, and I was really little, and I remember I'd sit there and I would eat cheese sticks because you would feed me cheese sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
But I remember there was an old lady at the bar who came up to me at the night's end, and she was like, "Do you really know all the words to these songs?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know the words to these. I've been listening to these. I mean, I was 5, but I was like, yeah, I mean, this is all I've been hearing since I was born."
Well, we played with Destiny on Siciliano's, and I remember you would come. Auntie brought you down there, your aunt, and you were 5 years old.
Had to be Auntie Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Funny thing, years later, I went out drinking with her and watching you play.
but they were cool because they knew you were my son, and they always let you in and sit down for it. It wasn't really something you.
Oh yeah, listen, I remember so many times being the little kid in the bar, and it never registered to me at the time. Like there weren't other little kids
Well,
around.
everybody loved you because you had a Hawaiian shirt and a tail
Oh
in
god,
your hair, and everybody thought you were
Oh,
just,
man.
oh, you're so cute.
the '80s, what a fucking terrible time.
Well, you know what?
That tail,
I
that
gotta
tail.
tell you, I can tell you about the '80s and with Destiny and everything. It was the best time of my life, but it was the worst too.
Yeah, I know you had a lot of.
'Cause I got drinking and drugs, and I
yeah.
got really messed up, and I just I lived alone.
That was the thing. We ended up with common later in life. I had a drug problem, and I kicked it.
Yeah,
And,
well,
I mean, it was cool. I had somebody to talk to about it.
I
Somebody
had
who
to just
understood.
quit everything because it
Yeah.
was out of control, and
Yeah, I mean,
when
it fucks your life up, man.
Well, I was in the bar house, and they used to bring the shot ski over with all the shots in it, and they would put ginger ale in mine, tap out the bubbles. People thought I drank tequila for years.
Oh, Jesus.
I said, I haven't drank since 1986. I'm
yeah,
not drinking.
I knew better. I knew you weren't drinking.
Yeah, but people knew,
Yeah.
Well, Ben, the bartender at the Sandbar, used to he'd give me different concoctions.
Oh,
of
Ben. Ben.
Yeah, and
Great guy.
They used to give me different concoctions of fruit juices, and he'd say, hey, "How'd you like that?" I said, "Oh, that was pretty good."
Man, all them people at the Sandbar were great.
Yeah, that place, the band itself screwed that one up.
Yeah, I mean, but their crew there they had something special.
Yeah, well,
They did.
They were great guys, but they had a habit of
They were partiers.
they just couldn't keep it together.
Yeah, they couldn't control their
Now, if they
partying.
could control their drinking stuff and everything, they could have went so much further
Oh,
than
yeah.
they did.
That place was a gold mine waiting to happen. But
They liked me
yeah.
because when I joined the band, we started doing bigger things.
Yeah.
People started.
Well, I know
hiring
you
us
guys.
for big
You guys
events.
traveled a lot. I remember when you went to, like, fucking Minnesota or something.
Oh,
You
we
guys
went out to South
there.
Dakota.
Maybe that's where it
Yeah.
was.
But you know what? Bands that we opened up for at the Sandbar, they used to be mad at us because sometimes we do a better gig than they did, and they get really mad at us.
I remember meeting quite a lot.
We
of
did that
cool
to
people there.
we did that to Ernie and the Automatics. Was like 3/4 of the band was the band Boston, and we came out and did a killer set. And I realized, man, maybe we should have waited. We went a little too we went a little too over the top.
Oh, well, people that listen to this they'll never have that golden opportunity to watch you walk through the crowd for like a 30-minute solo playing
Yeah,
slide with everything.
Running around on chairs and doing all kinds.
Yeah,
of
but my
stuff.
favorite thing is you would just walk up to people and we could hand you random things and you'd play slide guitar.
Well, I think the most memorable for me was playing slide guitar with a live lobster. With the
I didn't know that.
Yeah, with a claw.
Oh my God.
I have a really dark picture of it. I'll show it to you.
Man, I have to see
Well,
that.
they had a lobster meat raffle or something. So the sax player was notorious for handing me things.
Oh yeah.
So I'm playing, all of a sudden he hands me a live lobster, and I got it in my hand. I'm like, shit. So I just grabbed the claw, started playing, and he goes, look at him, he's
That's
getting
awesome.
mad. I'm like, of course he's getting mad.
That's fucking
You know?
funny, man. That's cool.
One of our go-to moves where he would pick up a chair in the crowd, flip it over, and I'd use one of the legs to play slide while he was holding the bottom.
Wow.
And one night
That's fucking
we had,
incredible.
One night we had one of those giant candles in sand with a light for the tables. You can't light those now, but it was huge, and I was holding it in my hand. My hand was fully extended, and I was playing stuff like
I've
this.
seen it. I've seen you do shit like that.
Oh my God, the thing! Girls love to throw up high heels.
Yeah.
Oh, they love that.
Yeah,
stuff.
it was because it was fun. It was interactive, and people were. The few I saw, I got to see it quite a few times. And when I was there in the crowd, it was like people were searching to find the weirdest shit to hand you.
Yeah, that's out. You did what you could.
But you made it sound like you were using a slide, though. That's on the guitar that literally hangs on my wall out here
You know,
right
you
now.
still got that.
Yeah,
I
man.
know.
I'm never getting rid of it.
But that was why, because I had a really nice Les Paul I was playing out with, but it kept getting taking hits, and I said, I'm
beat
not
up.
doing this anymore. So I bought that Paul Reed Smith. It was like a cheaper guitar, but it didn't
nice.
matter when
Yeah,
things
it's-
happened to it.
It's still a nice guitar.
It got dropped.
It's
all
still
kinds
pretty.
of stuff.
Yeah, but that's a lot of stories on that thing.
Yeah, but that Paul Reed Smith was cool because I knew it was the kind of guitar that you could tap it on the floor or bang it and it would still stay in tune. You could keep playing.
But yeah, see, like, me, like, well, you were at my house today for my kid's birthday and used the old guitar I just bought.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't necessarily always want the newest, shiniest one.
No,
I
you
want the
don't.
ones with some character.
Well, see, that Paul Reed Smith was a gig-friendly thing because it could take the beating. Because when I traveled with that band, things took a beating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't doubt, especially with the Bajas.
Well, we had the road guy.
Everybody was hammered.
It was just him, and he's trying to set up everything, so things kept happening.
Yeah.
But these guys were fools because before the gig, they'd go across the street. We'd be playing at the
Oh, they'd be getting drunk?
at the what the heck was that place? But it was down there in Falmouth, Mass. And they would go over to the British Beer Company and drink before the gig. And I would be in the hallway upstairs
That sounds
practicing my
okay.
acoustic, because that's where we changed. But I'd make sure everything was working.
Yeah.
And then you see Billy come in with his keyboard 5 minutes before the gig, and he's messing around with chords because they weren't working. I said, well, if you'd been here a half hour
Yeah, right.
ago, you wouldn't be doing that.
Stop
now,
doing
would you?
shots and come
It was
over
a
here and
place